Hello, all you hardcores out there. Welcome to part two. We're just waiting for Jerry to log in. For those of you that are not a subscriber to Porky's Corner, it's a 2-second job. Press your subscribe button. You get your notifications straight to your phone. You get your video straight to your phone if you press the notification bell. Save your emailing me saying, you put 4 videos out today, Porky, and I've only watched 2. I can't find other 2. Well, if you hit the subscribe button and the notification button, they go straight to your phone. Okie dokie. All right. Big shout out to Kent. I hope Kent's okay. You know where I am, Kent, if you need me. Right. On with Jerry. Jerry, what's he up to, Carl Frampton?
I haven't heard much about him recently. I know he actually has a lot of business ventures on the go. One of which is actually down in the building that I work in, and I do see him the odd time coming in and having meetings with people. But other than that, I don't really know if what he's been up to recently, other than he's doing a bit of work for BT Sport, not right?
Yeah. What about that Willie Leemond? Have you heard about him?
The Scottish fitter who floored Khan.
Who what?
Is that the Scottish boxer who floored Amir Khan?
Yeah, the Scotch kid who he beat Curtis Woodhouse as well for Commonwealth, didn't he? And I think he might have given Amir a count. Well, he's critical after falling all the way in unknown condition. He's in hospital fighting for his life, apparently.
That's terrible. I seen his farewell fight as well. I actually watched a few of Willie Leemond's fights. He was a great fighter. You know, European level maybe. And like I said, it was good fun seeing him. I think he floored Amir Khan in the second round, but I didn't hear that he was not well. So that's not good news at all. Like I hope he pulls through, Ross. That's not good to hear at all.
Andy'll know more about it when he comes on tonight, like, because Andy's from up that way and he's well up on Scottish boxing and that. But let's hope.
Yeah, ask Andy.
Let's everybody in boxing just say a prayer for Willie Leemond, his guts, and I hope he's going to pull through because he's a nice kid. Yeah, it's not nice, is it, Jerry, out like that?
No, that's terrible. I've just searched for it there quickly. So yeah, fighting for his life apparently. That's terrible news. He must be about my age, I think, Willie Leemond.
What do you think about all this Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul rhubarb chat?
Absolute crap, mate. Rubbish. And I'm sick of seeing videos popping up, trying to legitimize Mike Tyson training and doing all this type of nonsense. It makes me sick. I just have no interest in it. Don't want to see it. Don't care. Mike Tyson, like, what are you doing? He's playing along with it. He's playing along with the whole thing. We obviously know Jake Paul, what game he's at. And that's fair enough. It doesn't interest me, and that's what he's at. But Mike Tyson kind of wanting to be a part of it, kind of, it's leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's not something I want to really see. Somebody who I'm not a big Tyson fan, but obviously he's a bit of a legend in the sport, like, so it's not something I want to see a legend in getting used.
To me, he's a nonce, a nonce. And if people,
I know that, mate.
Hang on a minute, Joe. It's my show. If people want to argue with me about that, go speak to Teddy Atlas and ask him about his 11-year-old niece. And don't tell me it weren't in Mike Tyson from a young age. Yeah, he could knock men out. So what? He's still a nonce. Anybody who wants to argue, pokecorner@mail.com and come and tell me he ain't a nonce. Exactly. Silence. What do you think, Jerry?
Well, we all know the story, like, so, and he didn't issue an apology to Teddy Atlas for nothing. So
here you go, but nobody pull them up on it, do they? They're all giving him a free run. He's an hero. He's fated after. He's a nonce. End of. Oh, you freaky weirdos out there. Nonce. Sorry about that. Every now and then I have to go in a bit deep and just correct a few people. Stop hanging out the back of him. He's a nonce. In his book, he admitted to taking steroids and cheating with piss tests. The guy's rooted in corruption from beginning to end. All right? Bad guy. So he all fell for it. Most manipulative person in boxing. At least Bricktop stood up to him. Even if
I didn't know. Sorry, mate. I've never read his book. You see, so I didn't know he admitted to
read his
steroids. But I
book.
know.
Read his book. Yeah, in his book he says, yeah, we got this fake wizard on the end of his dick, and in it had clean pissed in it. Because he'd have pissed dirty, wouldn't he, for all sorts of stuff. Coke, weed, steroids, the lot they were getting him, weren't they? And he were paying a £5,000 every time money to not be tested. You know, it's all in his book, mate. Go read it. Guy's a cheat and a nonce. That's the bottom line. What about that old couple he battered at the side of the freeway in the car? My mum and dad's age. Oh, is that all right? That makes it all right, does it? They're all getting stuck into Dougie Joyce on here for slapping a 72-year-old, but it's all right for Mike Tyson to put him in hospital, isn't it? Man and woman. Pensioners. You know? So people need to do a bit of research before they start hero worshipping nonsense. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, people just seem to.
I know you were a Tyson fan, Jerry. I didn't mean to cut you short early, but you know, sometimes things need to be said. If that were Joe Bloggs round here and he was just a lightweight and he never won a belt and he got done for what some stuff Mike Tyson had got done for. Every time he had to walk round here, he'd have to run the gauntlet. You know? And in boxing areas where boxing gyms out, Mike Tyson is fated after. Why is that? It's a bit like Jimmy Savile, he were fated after. Nobody wanted to say out, did they? Why is that? And it's same with these people in boxing, these fucking YouTubers who are hanging out at the back of these promoters and they're not even tickling them with questions. Why is that? Why is that? Because they all want access, don't they? You know what I mean? So I look at it, Jerry.
I've never been a Tyson Mike Tyson fan. Just to put that on record. You know, but there's plenty of people who are like.
Good luck to him. Good luck to him. Would they let Mike Tyson take the daughter out for a drink? That's what I say. All these people who are big Mike fans, would you let him babysit your teenage daughter?
Not after you heard about what happened with Eddie Atlas's niece. No way.
No, well, she were 11, wasn't she? That Desiree Washington were 18, wasn't she?
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, do you know what I mean? So it is what it is, isn't it? So, like I said, every now and then I like my inbox to be a little bit full. So bring on the Mike Tyson hate for me. It's simple, isn't it, really? When they bring on the Joe Calzaghe hate regarding Carl Froch, she just goes 46-0. So I just say you never fought no one, you prick. So who do you think's best promoter in world boxing at the moment now, Jezza?
I don't really see much difference between Hearn and Frank Warren at the minute. They've got to be the main guys because you know, correct me if I'm wrong, like I don't see any of the Americans working with the Saudis, like, so it seems to be those two guys, you know, they're the dream team at the minute. You know, it's probably not going to last forever, like, let's be real, but you know, those guys are the ones kind of, well, they're making the undisputed for heavyweight, you know, and like I don't see none of the Americans making really such a big wave like in boxing at the minute regarding big you know cards being put on. Obviously, boxing's always taken over as it does in the States, but you know there's nobody really making any substantial waves. People are all talking about what's going on in Saudi, and basically it's Eddie Hearn and Frank Warren at the minute.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it? At the moment, Jerry, the current state of play, they're the two top dogs, aren't they?
They have to be. Just look at who's fighting. Apparently in May. You know what I mean? And it's not an American heavyweight. You know what I mean? Or an American promoter involved.
I think that boxing at the moment, it's on a knife edge, and I think there's a lot resting on what goes on in the next 2 or 3 months. Jerry, do you think that?
What way do you mean? Do you mean like
Fury Usyk doesn't happen? I think that Turkey Al Sheikh game might turn around and say, what's going off here? What is going off here? There's millions and millions and millions at stake, and there's fights are not happening. Because this is how I look at it. If Fury gets a freak injury, and this time it is a real one, right? Who's going to believe him? Who'd believe Fury if he got an injury next month or something, or 2 weeks before the fight? Because it isn't that far now, Jezza, is it?
I was thinking about this a few days ago, and I actually was thinking that is entirely possible that a legit injury could happen to either guy.
Yeah.
Obviously, it would look way more bad for Tyson Fury, but it would be a complete catastrophe, I think, and that would end the whole prospect of getting any fight done between the two. I think, excuse me, I think if this falls through in May, Usyk walks away and goes a different direction. And that's what made me think if anything at all happens, Fury, I think in the next few weeks, he's probably going to keep his mouth shut. That's just, I was just thinking hypothetical situations here. He keep his mouth shut because he realizes if I don't do this, it's gonna make him look even more terrible than he already has done to his reputation with different things that have happened. But he'd be a complete and utter joke, and nobody would take him seriously, and all the rest of it. So I think Fury, no matter what happens, Fury knows he has to take it. He has to do it no matter what. And if there is something underlying whenever he goes into that fight, he'll not talk about it until after. And if he loses, he'll definitely play on that. Well, I actually had an injury, but I didn't want to talk about it because I didn't want people to think I was, messing about and, trying to get out of the fight, blah, blah, blah. So that sort of thing. But you're right about the knife edge in regards to that fight, because if that doesn't happen, so many more boxing fans are going to be disillusioned, and they'll just think this sport is a joke. Let's go and watch UFC.
Yeah. How do you think MMA UFC is doing outside of boxing at the moment? Because according to these analytics that me and a couple of my pedigree chums keep looking at, UFC and MMA is growing at 11% per year, and boxing is slowing down 4.4% per year. So boxing's going down, and that's climbing up, but they're not rapidly, but slowly but surely. The people that are boxing and who are dying, the young generations are not watching it. Whereas MMA, there's no people watching all the time, that are switching from boxing. So I'm just wondering if 10 years from now, it could be a massive, massive, massive problem, Jerry. What do you think?
It could be. Already said to you about this before. Like, I'm not a mixed martial arts fan or UFC fan or anything like that. No interest. But I obviously know people who are. And to me, I remember sort of a buzz about this about 10 years ago. And I remember thinking then, oh, this is obviously giving boxing a bit of a run for its money. It was around about the time Conor McGregor started getting big, and it's maybe because he's Irish that maybe I felt that kind of wave of people getting into UFC get a wee bit more prominent. But for me, I thought it maybe had died down. Perhaps maybe it's still growing, but not as rapidly. So like now that you've sort of told me those statistics, I'm sort of maybe a little bit surprised because I thought maybe some of the hype around Undisputed and whatever, like some of these Saturday fights, has maybe attracted some fans back. But um, it could be that UFC and mixed martial arts is taking over, and maybe boxing will be in really bad state in 10 years' time. But I don't really have the answer on how to fix that and how to get younger people interested, because boxing's been around for such a long time, and the history that's involved, and it just seems to be there's always youngsters being brought to boxing clubs and that sort of get involved in the sport. But and UFC's relatively, or mixed martial arts is a relatively young sport, so maybe it's going to go through a period of growth like that until it sort of plateaus, um, and things will balance out again. But I really can't say. Like, I really can't say.
Well, it's going to be interesting, isn't it, to see what happens moving forward. Savannah's going to be doing a UFC or MMA or whatever they call it, June. What do you think to that?
Good luck to her. I know we were talking about it before, and I think, like, she feels like there's nothing left for her to do in boxing, and that's what direction she wants to go. Good luck to her. I think women's game could benefit from having as many names attached to it as possible. So it's a loss to the women's side of boxing if she transitions to a different sport. It's not nothing saying she can't come back, like, if she wants to, but yeah, I mean, if that's what she wants to do, that's what she wants to do. Obviously, I'd rather she stuck around for boxing, and for the benefit of boxing rather than go to mixed martial arts. But you know, that's what the that's what the girl wants to go on and do with her career, and if she enjoys that and that makes her happy, and that's the right choice.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah, it's. What about Natasha Jonas? How many more fights do you think she's going to have now?
You still there, Mitt?
Yeah, how many fights do you think Natasha Jonas has got left in her? Because she's, even though she looks well for her age, she's not getting any younger, is she?
Oh, sorry, mate. Sounded like I couldn't hear a thing you were saying
Jerry,
there.
can
If
you
you
hear
were
me
chatting
now,
away there,
Jerry? Jerry, can you hear me? Jerry, can you hear
I
that?
can indeed. Yeah,
Right, right. So why couldn't
yeah.
you? Well, I'm speaking same as well earlier. Can you hear that now? Is that better? Yeah. Is that better, or is that
Yeah,
not
it was like
distorted? What it, Jerry?
about halfway through.
Do you
Say
know
it
what I
again.
say? Do you know what I say to that, Jerry? They've got a sale on if you go to Aldi, get some cotton buds in your lugs. Could you hear that, Jerry?
Uh, it was like the sound cut out for a second for you talking, but you're back
All
now.
right. Okay then. Right. Well, Natasha Jonas, she hasn't fought since 20th of Jan when she did Michaela Mayer. I'm just wondering how many fights Natasha's got left in her career because she is 40 in June, you know? So I'm just wondering what she's gonna do, you know? What do you think?
Um, I I was sort of surprised to hear, obviously when she was taking on Michaela Mayer, and that was only a couple of months ago, and she may as well be 40. Um, I don't know. It's an incredible age for a woman to still be boxing, particularly at that level. Um, I don't really know what more she's kind of got, you know, to give to the sport, really,
Yeah,
or what she's wanting to prove to herself. She's already become like champion, you know what I mean? So, um, maybe she might need to look at doing something else. She's obviously a good personality on TV, so she could become a pundit full
that's a good
time or something like that.
that's a very good point you made there, Jerry. She's a good pundit on Sky, isn't she? She lights up the room. She's got the CV to go with it all. And the pedigree, she's a Olympic bronze medal, not a World Championship bronze medalist, and she's an Olympian. So she's a decorated fighter. So I think she'd be a good fit. But we all said Bean were a good fit at Sky, but once the face didn't fit, Bean were gone, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was.
What do you think to all
I've
these
never been a.
excuses, Jerry, Francis and Garno?
Um, that is a man in denial. I thought Andy made a good point in a video you did out with Andy a couple of days ago. It I don't know, has he got his brain scrambled or something? It's almost like he's in some kind of shock after that. Like he thought he was the Terminator or something. You know, he had more. There was more sort of respect about him with before he came out with the excuses. You know, just taking the loss like a proper sportsman. You know, you can respect that, but whenever you start coming off of things like that, sort of reminded me of Deontay Wilder talking about his heavy robe. You know, then you start going, is this guy maybe Joshua gave him brain damage? Like maybe he's not thinking right. He's not doing himself any favors talking like that. So I think Francis Ngannou should forget about excuses. And if he's going to go in boxing again, pick pick a better opponent, more suitable opponent, and test his levels that way. But as far as I know, he's going back to mixed martial arts again.
Who was your favourite fighter ever, Jerry, of all time?
Can you see my picture there? My profile picture, it's Larry Holmes and Gerry Cooney. So Larry Holmes is probably my favorite.
He's Julian's favourite heavyweight, I think. Larry Holmes.
Yeah, I remember Julian talking about him.
Julian always used to wax lyrical about Larry Holmes, didn't he? You remember?
Yeah. That's a bit of common ground I had there with Julian. So I obviously like that. It used to be whenever I was a really young kid, it used to be Muhammad Ali. And you know, I always remember my dad sort of telling me about Ali and stuff. And I was always obsessed with the fact that he regained the championship, you know, 3 times. I was like, always thought that was amazing. But same with a lot of things, you know, when you get a bit older and you start to understand things a bit more.
Yeah.
And then I kind of went through a phase, and I still do like Joe Fraser, but went through a phase of really sort of admiring Joe. I still do admire him, but had that sort of phase of really admiring Joe Fraser. And then the 3 fights, obviously, that he had with Ali. But Larry Holmes, definitely.
Yeah, madness, isn't it? You know, Martin McCauley. I know we spoke about this before, but you know, recently it looks to me everything that I said a year ago's come true. It looks like he's being phased out. Do you agree, Jerry? You know, we spoke about this when you first came on.
Yeah.
And now look, do you think McCauley gets a fair shake and Billy Nelson?
It doesn't seem to be that way at the minute. But I mean, you know, who's to blame for this? You know, is it they're not getting any opportunities presented to them, and they're sort of being frozen out, like you're saying, or is there, you know, what's really going on in the background there? I still feel like Bacoli has a lot to prove. We need to see him in there with other top 10 guys, and it's just not happening. I'm trying to think who would be a good opponent to see him in against, because he's already done that other Olympian, you know, the French guy, and made him look ridiculous. What was that guy called? I can't remember that guy. Basically, the French Joshua. Can't remember his name though. So we need to see Martin Bacoli in against someone else in the top 10. I tell you who's been sort of ticking over in the background, who would be a good sort of measuring stick for him. Pulev's had a few fights. One was the other week. stick Martin Bacoli in with Pulev. He'd probably knock him out, but that would sort of that's a scalp for him at least. And I know he's an old
40
man,
odd,
etc.
Pulev. Jerry, Pulev's 40 odd, mate. How's that a test? It's a man coming back for a pension payoff, 40 odd in boxing.
It's just the way I was sort of looking at that was it's a name scalp. Fair enough, he's old, but I mean, how many of the other guys in the top 10 have got old guys under their CV? Like, what I was sort of looking at that way, it was if nobody in the top 10's fighting him, you could maybe get that scalp easily. Do you know what I mean?
Dave Allen rates Bacoli, you know.
Would you like to see Dave Allen in against Bacoli?
I would, because Dave would get a payday, but I don't think the powers that be are giving it. Not when he's going to points against Jake Darnell, 2-26. Do you know what I mean? If you go into points with a guy 2-26 in a 4-rounder,
yeah.
What chance have you got of beating Martin Bacoli? Martin Bacoli, if he wants, could slay Dave Allen with his big toe, couldn't he?
Yeah, David probably really take some damage if he was to go up against Bacoli.
Dave's in danger of tippling down into like obscurity, and fighting somebody like Max in Malta, something like that. Will end up happening for Dave, and people will not take him serious. But you've heard my opinion on this, haven't you? And Dave, I know you're listening. Yeah. I've heard back, Dave. Get rid of all the maggers on, shave your head bald, have a shave, get a new pair of trainers, a new pair of socks, go have a massage, go see a chiropodist, have all your feet done and everything. Go look after your son, Dave. Go get training hard. Train hard for a year, son. 1 year. Come back age 33, and you know what? Everybody will be talking about you and saying, it's the new Dave Allen. But you remember, Dave, when I said this a year ago? What have you done in that year? Ooh, got fat, fought no one, right? And burnt bridges. So disappear for a year and come back at 33. It's Big Freeze. He's 33 and it's not bothering him, is it? He was out at Wilderness years before he went pro. Dave turned pro too early, didn't he, listening to people? But in my opinion, all he's got to do is go away and get fit and come back when you're fit, because nobody now is going to believe what he says, because he's spun that many narratives over the last 10 years, only 12 years, that people are like, oh, God, Dave Allen's taking it serious. Oh, Operation White Rhino. Dave's taking it serious. He's not only got one kid now, he's got another kid. Well, soon he'll have a football team of kids if he keeps going on. But Dave, social only pay for 3 kids with family allowance. Only pay for the first 3, Dave, not like olden days when they were shelling them like peas in Bowlby. Okay, we'll finish off on Bean's cancer story. You know what I mean? So
you don't want to
finish off think on somebody like Jerry, wrap it up. Yeah, go on.
You don't want to think someone like that's making that story up. That's
don't believe
low.
It, mate.
I know you don't. I know.
I don't believe it. I don't believe it, mate. If this is how I look at it, right? If you work for a company like Sky and you're in public eye, well, they have that. Who is it? I forgot the name. That bird, but Alex Scott or something, who left or so. Anyway, it's cut a long story short. People were there an handful of years at Sky. They left and all that. They're big deals for them, big send-offs, big mentions on Sky Sports and all this, and it's Sky Magazine and all that Sunday supplement thing. Bean does nearly 3 decades there, right? Gets cancer, has chemo, and says he's leaving Sky, right, to try different things, and ends up a small commentator doing small shows in South Yorkshire, right? And yet there's no mention on Sky for his 3 decades there. I'm not buying it, Jerry. Are you?
No.
I've heard back anyway, but I've heard in confidence. But I'm not going to portray that person's name, but it's all a load of knackers. He's a gambler. And he's too vulnerable to be running the ship at Sky because boxing's full of sharks. Why can't they come out and say that? Why? I'll tell you why. Because it's knee-deep in corruption. And everybody's got big egos, haven't they? Bean won't want to be known as the man that will let go at Sky because he had a gambling problem, would he? If I'm chatting knackers, Bean, I'd say it's allegedly, but I ain't chatting knackers. You know why you're not at Sky. If it's a load of knackers, sue me. Complain about the video and sue me. Bean. Yeah, exactly. So, well, I think I'm bothered about them. They didn't give a shit about me when they were riding high at Sky. Just because he's working with that lot next door, do you think I'm supposed to be bigging them up? They don't mean shit to me, these people. They don't mean shit. They don't pay my bills. So, I just want to know what other people think about it. Because it ain't going away. Not on my shift. I don't like being told knackers. All right? All these people, this is that. Listen, Bean's finished. End of. If he were any good, he'd be working out there in Saudi or working with Bricktop and Eddie and Eddie Hills, wouldn't he? There's no room for him, mate. Once you get involved with that gambling game in boxing, no chance. So that's that. Right. It's gone 11:30. Sorry, it's nearly 9:30. It's coming up to 9:30. So I'm going to get off, Jerry. It's been a pleasure to have you on, Jerry. We always have a good laugh, don't we?
No worries, mate. Yeah, of course.
I know I give you a bit of stick, Jerry, about that Magnum Tash of yours, but you keep sending me Magnum gifts on my phone, reminding me that you've got Tash.
Well, it was a good show.
Oh,
nice car as well.
I know, yeah. So, all right then, Jerry. Well, listen, thanks for coming on, and all the best to you and your missus. When do you get married?
Not for another year and a half, mate.
And haven't you even booked it yet, Jerry?
Oh yeah, it's booked. Yeah.
It's booked. Have you bought dress and everything?
She's got the dress. Yeah. I haven't picked out suits or nothing like that. Well, I can wait. I'm wait for a while before I have to do
Listen,
that.
Jerry, I'm going to be expecting an invite over to Ireland. All right.
Yeah. All right. No worries, mate.
Whereabouts in Ireland are you?
Just outside Belfast.
Just outside Belfast. Do they still drive tanks and that round there, Jerry? Because I'm not into all that tank carry on.
Not anymore, mate. No.
Is it Ubers now?
Ubers and Audis.
Ubers and Audis. Go on. All right then. Well, listen. You take care, Jerry, and God bless. And give your better half my best.
No worries, mate. Take it easy.
Cheers,
all right.
Mate. Bye.
Cheerio. Bye.
Well, that was Jerry from Belfast. I believe it's in Northern Ireland. Women love him, men want to be him. He has got a Magnum Tash and a mullet. Go on, Jerry. But he did get in the charts once with a top 40 single, so I like him. All right. Peace out. Video 18 for April. What is it, 9th today? Like 2 a day. I've dropped it from 3 a day, haven't I? Go on, booyaka.